Depending on the type of filter you have, it's really important that you replace your mechanical filtration medium regularly. The way that this works is you use a filter wool. The filter wool traps detritus out of the water, and the water is circled past this detritus several times an hour. So how regularly this filter is cleaned will determine how effective it is. If this filter medium is exported out of the aquarium and the detritus removes quickly, the general water quality of the aquarium will remain higher. On the other hand, if you leave your filter in there and it's disgustingly dirty and the water is circled past it several times an hour, it can actually decrease the water quality. Oh well, this one's definitely too dirty. It's really important that as soon as the filter wool starts to go even a light brown, you really want to throw it away, because that means it's trapped as detritus. So therefore, the quicker you get that detritus out of the aquarium, the better water quality you'll have. In this case, you can really see the amount of gunk that this filter has caught, and you can see the nice clean water getting circled past that gunk, which has by no means any beneficial effects on the aquarium itself. So cleaning the filter way before it gets to this stage is really important. What you'll need to clean your filter is a bucket, so you don't make a mess, and some replacement filter wool. The way that you clean out this particular filter is to simply peel off the filter wool, throw it into a bucket, get some replacement filter wool and return it back to the filter. In this case, you just slide the filter wool underneath the spray bar so the water seeps down through the filter material before it goes into the biological material, before it falls back into the aquarium. So with a model such as this one, which is very easy to clean, you just lift up the top, pull the sponge out, clean the sponge and return the sponge back to the top of the filter. Check that the biological medium is not clogged up with detritus. If it is, wash it in tank water and return the sponge back to the top of the filter again clean. So what you're trying to do is pass the water past a biological medium, so the biological medium can be growing bacteria, and pass the water via a mechanical filter which can take any detritus out of the water. How effective the biological filter is governed by how much capacity there is for biological filtration and what the medium you use for your biological filtration. So some mediums can't house much bacteria, other mediums house a lot of bacteria. So the more capacity you've got to grow bacteria on mediums such as matrix, the more waste the filter can break down, and make sure that not too much detritus clogs up the filter, which will reduce its efficiency. Pre-filter or mechanical filter, how effective that is how regularly it's cleaned. With the larger canister style type filters, the amount of pre-filtration you've got is more, so therefore doesn't need to be cleaned as regularly, but in principle, the more often a pre-filter is cleaned, the more effective it is. It's really important that you don't clean your biological medium with tap water, because tap water contains chlorine, and chlorine kills the bacteria in the media. And if there's no bacteria in the media, there's nothing to break down the fish's waste, which becomes toxic and will often kill the fish. Now the way that you do clean out your biological medium is you put it in a bucket, you siphon some water out of the aquarium into the bucket, you swish it around. You don't have to get it really clean, you just have to free up any detritus that's in the media which might cause it to clog. Then you simply put your media back into the filter again once it's clean. Now this is a really common situation. What's happened here is this filter's been running for quite a period of time. This is a hang on the back model filter, and what's happened is they've noticed that the filter is looking quite dirty because it hasn't been cleaned for a while. So the sponge was then thrown out. Now the sponge is what was keeping the aquarium pretty much alive and keeping the tank clear, with the bacteria that was growing on the sponge. Now when the sponge was removed out under the impression that the sponge was too dirty, the bacteria which the tank was relying on was also removed. This aquarium also doesn't have much oxygen in it. Now that's a problem because the bacteria in the filter will be competing with the fish for the limited supplies of oxygen that's in the water. That will mean that the bacteria will be produced more slowly and will generally be less effective. If you go for a while and your sponge gets quite dirty, it's important to clean the sponge quite well in water from the fish tank, then put the sponge back in again, and maybe clean it quite regularly for a period of time until you get the quality of the sponge back up again. Or if you are going to replace the sponge, add the sponge to the old sponge until there's enough bacteria on the new sponge to then remove the old sponge. So in this case, we're going to add some matrix as the main biological filter material. We're going to be using the sponge as a mechanical filter as it was intended.